they stopped the recount in the 2000 election because continuing the recount and counting all the votes would be potentially harmful to Bush, who was currently in the lead. That was their argument. They're the Supreme Court. They can just say, fuck you, I do what I want.
What I thought was really interesting is at the time I saw someone who did a piece called Scalia on Scalia. And basically use Scalia's previously published opinions to tear apart Scalia's decision in the Florida case. So just kind of really underlined how the guy prostituted himself in that particular case.
Now, I want to present what I think would be a good solution to this issue of corporations, but this is just a fantasy world because obviously this is never going to happen. But here's what I think we should do with the corporations, okay? First off, if they're a corporation who's in the business of making money or doing business, rather than a group of people who get together for the purpose of public advocacy, which, by the way, corporations should have limits on how much they can donate to. What they should do is say corporations can be involved in paying for advertisements or lobbying or, donating to campaigns, whatever they want in the political process that any person can be involved in. What they can't do is spend more than the income of an average earning family in the United States on all of those things combined.
In other words, if you're going to have all the rights of a person, you can have all the liabilities too.
Right, or just, the same resources as the average person. Because otherwise, let me go ahead and justify this here a little bit. Corporations are completely anti-democratic, okay? We're talking about a body of people who have a level of control equal to the amount of money that they put into it. That's an argument in and of itself to say, maybe we should keep these guys out of our democracy a little bit. But if you're going to say that they should have...
What about other organizations? Does that go for just corporations, or what about other organizations?
Well, with other organizations, if you take out, if you put, for example, limits on how much each person can put into them, or if you even just say corporations can't because corporations are so much more powerful than other people. Obviously, we're not talking about a perfect system still, but it would certainly be better. I think it would be a great solution because, it's okay, you have, $60,000 a year. Your Walmart, you can only spend $60,000 a year on politics at all. That includes lobbying, that includes advertisements, that includes donations to politicians all around the country. Go nuts. Just to change the scale involved.
I don't know. I don't think there's a simple solution, though. I think you could run into some problems with that, possibly. And it would be possible to tip the scale too far in the other direction, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to make large changes and predict what the outcomes of those changes might be. There could be unforeseeable consequences. What I would do is if I were in charge and somehow I got the Supreme Court to go back on what they wanted or get a constitutional amendment, is I would probably go and strengthen the original McCain-Feingold just a great deal. And that's what I would do for starters. And then, see where it would go from there. And of course, revoke corporate personhood, obviously.
Well, I've actually did a video about what my perfect solution would be to the influence of money on politics. But it's once again one of those things that kind of operates in a dream world that I can't see a road from there to there from here. But if I had my way regarding the political process, I would ban all political advertising, period. And then instead of that, institute a debate system for every single position in government. And the rule would basically be is that if you wanted to run for that position, you necessarily had to participate in all of the debates, and that would be essentially your only mass media access to the public.
And Zach, that would be publicly funded.
Publicly funded. And the reason why that the news media would present that is because that would also be their only access to the candidates. They wouldn't have this orgy of money every couple of years that they could count on. They would just have these debates, and they could either film them or not. But I mean, that's their access. There's going to be no more, giving
What about interviews? What about?
They could be required to broadcast them as part of their FCC license. I mean, the airwaves are public, in theory, and they have licenses to broadcast over them. But yeah, I like your idea.
My feeling about corporations has always been that, well, don't you need to give up something in exchange for your limited liability? I mean, why is it that you get limited liability, which limits the amount of bad things that can happen to you, publicly funded, and you don't take on any liabilities? You have no obligation to the society that's doing this for you, except to provide jobs. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, Zach, I never understood limited liability. I never understood that.
I understand limited liability. What I don't understand is then turning around and giving them a whole bunch of other advantages, which are not related to them doing business.
I'd understand limited liability if it applied to people.
Yeah, no, Zach, I actually really like that idea of requiring public debates. Of course, then the news media would sort of pick their favorites out of the people available and give them more interviews and stuff like that, I think, unless you just said you can't be on TV at all.
No, that's the way I would have it. It's like you have access to the candidates via that. And I guess I'm not sure how you would do other refinements of it. I think there would be no purchased advertising.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be more vetting than that too, There's got to be reporting on these candidates.
I would like to have that, equalized as well. If you participate in the debates, it's like, oh, well, we want to conduct an interview. Okay, well, the candidates will be available at this point for interviews. You can do things to make the system more fair. And then, deal with whatever the outcome is. Maybe that favors Republicans, maybe it favors Democrats. Honestly, if the system is more democratic, I don't care. If I feel like people have more of an impact, if the amount of corporate crap that's clogging our system gets diminished, then I think that's all to the good. And I don't care who comes into power then, because I think because the process is improved, because people have more input, it will more closely reflect what people want. It will be more accountable, it will be more responsive.
Well, and just as importantly as that is, one of the, I guess sort of the argument for this Supreme Court decision is that people theoretically have more information for their choices of candidates or whatever, but instead of more information, what people need is better information.
Right. And I mean,
and we're talking about biased information.
That's like saying in the middle of this, and somewhere in the middle of this polluted river, there's like a tiny little morsel of very very tasty fish or something. Good luck finding it. I think it's made it much harder to get good information, and that's what the net effect is going to be. Just increasing the sheer quantity of information will not improve the quality at all. Just either in general or in specific.
Okay, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks again, Zach, for participating today, and Brendon as well. And we'll hopefully see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.